Unlock your dream property with Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality. Whether it's residential or commercial, we've got Charleston to Huntington covered. Your key to exceptional real estate experiences start here. Meeks Realty Group. Contact us at meeks.us.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
Hey, folks, good Tuesday morning to you. Welcome to the show, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill CDJR and the Thornhill Motor Mile. It is time to make the summer of Ram. Make this the summer of Ram. The all-new Thornhill Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Visit them at the Fountain Place Mall in Logan or at thornhillcdjr.com. And we do the show from the Par-Mar Store studio. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Phone calls for the Dave Allen Show, a service of Biggly Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street in Charleston. Texting services provided by Fruth Pharmacy, are actually provided by Tony the Tailor. That's the old sponsor. Tony the Tailor is the new guy. He's not very new because Tony's rather old. But anyway, texting services provided by West Virginia's finest men's store, Tony the Tailor, Virginia Street in Charleston. Visit bestmastertailor.com. Ryan Nicholson is our producer today. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. And Tony the Tailor text 304-935-5008. Welcome to the show. Last night, Charleston City Council met, and the discussion on marijuana continues. Councilman Chad Robinson, one of the council members, who's kind of been a part of the story from the very beginning. We're having a little technical issue here because I screwed something up royally. So, Ryan, I'm gonna take care of this for you right now. Okay, just 1 second, and I'm going to tell you a funny story about what your radio buddy Dave did here that really actually, that is right. That is right. Okay. We are trying. Here's what's going on. We are trying to get Amanda Estep-Burton, who is a former member of the House of Delegates here and from the Kanawha County area, and we are trying to get her on the phone from the Democratic National Convention. I actually texted her about 30 minutes ago and said, are we going to be good to go? And she said, yeah, and just call us. And every time we try to call Miss Burton, it goes straight to voicemail. So we're efforting right now to try to get her on the phone, but for some reason, it keeps going straight to voicemail. So maybe a reception issue. One would think in Chicago that you would have you'd have good reception, but apparently not. So we're trying, we're efforting. Ryan is working feverishly trying to get her on the show. So I think we just texted you. I'm going to send you another number, Ryan. There's nothing like technology when it works, and me trying to do this while talking on the air. So just give me 1 second here, and all right, I just sent you, in case I typed the number wrong, Ryan, in the email, I just texted you her phone number, so hopefully I got it right. That's the right number we have, and it's still going straight to voicemail. Okay, well, we tried. Amanda Frequent, she's been a guest on the show several times. We tried, but it just keeps going straight to voicemail. So I just texted her, Ryan, and said, okay, try calling us. So we'll see if that works. We will make an effort to get her on the show. But anyway, back to the Charleston City Council story. Councilman Chad Robinson is going to join us a little bit later on the show. This has been an effort by certain members of City Council to not decriminalize marijuana and to not make it legal or anything like that. It's basically just to kind of change the wording in some of what many people think was archaic language that was written into city code years and years ago. And it's really not even in line with what West Virginia law is. And so basically, and I'm going to let Chad get into this a little bit later on, but basically what was passed last night, and we'll get the current status of it, but basically there's not going to be any jail time and not going to be as many fines or things of that nature, if any fines at all. So I'll let Chad discuss this a little bit later. And this has not been nearly as controversial as what you would think it would be. It's, and I guess the attitudes toward marijuana have changed greatly over the years, and we'll get into that. There's some issues I have with it though, and I'll get into that with Chad a little bit later on. But I do understand now that Ryan looks like he's getting my attention, like he's guiding an airplane in here. I think we have a delegate to the DNC, Amanda Estep-Burton, with us. Amanda, are you there?
I am, Dave. Thanks so much.
It just kept going straight to voicemail.
Well, so I'm in the basement of the hotel for our mandatory breakfast, so I can't miss the breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
Like 3 floors underground. So.
A lady after my own heart. You're not going to miss the breakfast. All right, so we got you now, and we won't keep you long. We'll let you get back. What are you having for breakfast, by the way?
Oh, so it's actually horrible. It's hotel eggs and corned beef hash.
Well, I like corned beef hash. I mean, they need some tutors up in there, do they not?
They do. I would give anything for a tutor's biscuit right now.
All right. So Amanda's with us right now. She's one of the delegates, one of the local. How many delegates are there to the DNC from this area?
So there's 27 of us. I think 25 are delegates. We have some alternates and pages. But there are 27 with the West Virginia delegation. Okay. All right.
And, of course, President Biden spoke last night. I want to – so far, is this your first one of these that you've gone to, a DNC? Is this your first one?
Absolutely my first one.
All right. Well, so was it everything you had thought it would be so far?
So far, it is so much more than I thought it would be. It's so exciting. It's so much. It's great.
So set the mood for us in Chicago, Amanda, after day and night one. As I said, President Biden spoke last night. There were some other speakers as well. Talk about day one.
Day one, the energy's high. Everybody's really eager and excited. There are a lot of people, sensory overload, lights, cameras, action everywhere you go. But everybody's just really hopeful and energized and happy to be together.
Do you get the idea, Amanda, that most of the Democrats you've encountered there supported President Biden's decision to step aside and for Vice President Harris to step up?
Oh, I think so. I haven't seen anybody opposed to it.
Well, tonight, among the speakers, the Obamas are scheduled to speak tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction right now. I don't care what people think about Barack Obama. He's a dynamic speaker one way or the other, and I think he's going to blow the roof off that place tonight.
I hope so. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you.
He's a fantastic speaker. And again, we're talking with Amanda Estep-Burton, who is a delegate from West Virginia to the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. I know you obviously, or I would think you probably didn't spend a great deal of time watching the Republican National Convention last month, but I'm sure you saw some of it, at least the highlights. Compare and contrast, Amanda, the message that you saw coming out of the RNC with what you're seeing thus far in Chicago with the DNC.
So, Dave, honestly, I don't watch much TV, and I only caught the entertainers from the RNC and the J.D. Vance introduction. So I don't really know what happened at the RNC. So to compare the messages, I would be lying if I said I even knew what the message of the RNC was.
I appreciate your honesty. That's one of the reasons why I love having you on the show from time to time. What message, Amanda, do you want to impart to the listeners this morning about voting for and supporting not just Kamala Harris, but Democrats in general? Because, as you know, it's a big ask of people in a dark red state, Amanda.
It absolutely is. I realize it's an uphill battle. The Democrats and Kamala Harris especially are working to rebuild the middle class, revive our economy, make it so everyday working Americans can have an easier life and find quality jobs.
Why do you think that Kamala Harris is a better choice for president than former President Trump?
Well, for instance, part of someone's speech last night was that the billionaires in America pay 8.5% tax. Well, my tax rate's much higher than 8.5%. Why aren't they at least paying what I'm paying? Because we need to start taxing wealthier people so middle-class people can be have a better quality of life.
Okay. Anything else that excites you about Kamala Harris as opposed to Donald Trump? I mean, I know you're a Democrat. I know you're going to support Kamala Harris. But what are some other things that for you are going to make you pull that lever, other than the fact that she's the Democrat? What are some other things that are going to make you pull that lever come November?
So this is a real opportunity for us to really get to know Kamala. I Well, we all know who she is. Not many of us know a lot about her. So I can't exactly tell you everything that excites me about her because I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot more this week. But she's been a working class citizen. Came from she grew up a lot like I did. She has worked hard for a living to achieve what she's achieved, and look at her. She's amazing. So I'm really excited to get to know more about her and just grow from her.
Have you seen any of the protesters? I know a lot was made about the protesters, and they're saying it's going to ramp up as the week goes along. Amanda, have you seen any protesters?
So, yes, I have. And obviously we're walking around the city. Everything's really secure. But I have not seen the level of protesting that I've seen when I've turned on the news. I don't care which news media it is. It's like they've got some zoomed-in shots of a few people protesting. But there's not mass protests happening around me. I don't feel unsafe. We have some transportation that takes us from our hotel to the convention center. Secret Service is on it. They had to reroute us because there was some protest in front of the United Center yesterday that they had to use some tear gas for. But I haven't felt unsafe for a second. I think everybody has a right to protest. Just do so peacefully, and everything's fine. So
what's on tap for today?
So, today we have the Obamas. Honestly, too, yesterday I learned more about the agenda for the evening ceremonies from watching CNN. So James Taylor was supposed to be there last night. He may be there tonight. We've got the Obamas. We've got several great speakers lined up. This afternoon we've got caucus meetings, so I'll be attending the rural caucus because, I'm from West Virginia. It's pretty rural, and the women's caucus at 9:30. So it's just a bunch of meetings, learning, growing, and connecting with each other.
Well, I appreciate you taking time away from your corned beef hash. Sorry, it's not Tudor's. If we ever get these folks to West Virginia, we'll learn them. We'll learn them on what to eat, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's about time.
Amanda Estep-Burton, I appreciate you being here. Have fun and try to keep Mike Pushkin out of jail, okay?
Oh, no problem.
All right. We'll let you get back to it. I appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate you calling.
Amanda Estep-Burton, and she's a delegate to the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. The interesting about the protest, what she said, because, I wanted I actually just re-X'd some video from a friend of mine who does radio in Pittsburgh of some of the more outlandish protests that were there. I get that on my social media, actually, just on the X page. But she says she hadn't seen a whole lot. But then they had to reroute traffic because some protesters had to be tear gassed, according to Delegate Burton. I will mention this programming note that we will have coverage of the DNC from Chicago. Again, the Obamas will be speaking tonight, and that's just some of the speakers, so just a couple that will be speaking tonight. We'll have coverage following Reds baseball tonight via ABC. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you in part by Bridge Valley. Or if you're interested in improving your company's IT workforce, please know Bridge Valley offers custom-tailored IT training to bridge the skills gap. At Bridge Valley, train for little or no cost, 50-50 salary match available. They can also supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu/apprenticeships today. Let me knock out a couple texts here, and then we're going to bring Chad Robinson in. Text says, so taking money from the rich makes the middle better? ? Yeah, I got a little bit of a problem with that, too. But again, I was being respectful because Amanda was doing us a favor. I got a little bit of problem with that ideology as well. Text says, so she's excited to vote for Harris because she's a Democrat, not any of her policies. Hope to learn why she supports her. Says, well, she's going to learn. That's what she said. She said, I'm looking forward to learning more. So there you go. Bigly, Piggly Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Taylor text 304-935-500. Coming up on tomorrow's show, our good friend Millie Snyder from the Shape Shop is going to be here, as well as my tag team partner Steve Annable from 987 The Mountain. Tomorrow night, the Paint the Capitol Green event up at the Bill No Flight School at West Virginia International Yeager Airport. I'm happy to announce, and I was just in a meeting about this yesterday afternoon, the event is now completely sold out. There are no more tickets available. No more tickets at the door, no more tickets online. So hopefully you got yours. Steve and I will serve as MCs for the night tomorrow night. Steve's going to join me on tomorrow's show, but again, it is completely sold out. We're going to paint this sucker green tomorrow with Marshall Thundering Herd. The event is completely sold out. Steve, Animal, and I will be serving as the MCs tomorrow night. The Paint the Capital City Green event is sponsored by Ball Toyota. Back after this, we're going to bring in Charleston City Councilman Chad Robinson to talk about pots. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses want to thank you for supporting local small businesses.
Red, White, and Vroom make this the summer of Jeep at Thornhill CDJR on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Take advantage of incredible savings with up to $3,250 off MSRP on new 2024 Jeep Gladiator Sport. Head to Thornhill CDJR US 119 in Logan today and see why we're the top choice for Jeep enthusiasts. Don't miss out. Your summer adventure starts on the Thornhill Motor Mile. It's Red, White, and Vroom at the all-new Thornhill Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Visit us at Fountain Place Mall next to Tractor Supply on US 119 in Logan or online at thornhillcdjr.com. So for all offers through Stellantis Financial, see Thornhill for all details.
Hey, it's Dave Allen for Parmar Stores. Our lives are all hectic. That goes without saying. It also goes without saying we're always looking for ways to make our lives just a little bit easier. That's where your local Parmar store comes in. From gas to groceries and snacks to a quick soda or that morning cup of coffee you need to keep you going, Parmar's got it. Download the Parmar app and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Your Putnam County Assessor's Office is mandated to ensure your real estate is evaluated properly and fairly. This year, their field personnel will be in the Taze Valley, Curry, and Hurricane districts to revisit homeowners. Plus, new construction in the county will be assessed. They will be in marked vehicles and will have photo ID and business cards. If you have any questions about this process, visit their website at putnamcoassessor.com. That's putnamcoassessor.com.
923, Dave Allen Show, and 580 Live, brought to you by Brightway Insurance and Mays Agency. They now offer small business insurance through the 4 major carriers. The Hartford, Travelers, Progressive, and Next. Call to stop by. See John and Sherry Mays today, 3860 Taze Valley Road, Suite 1 in Hurricane, 304-814-2509, or visit brightwaymays.com. Texas Dave, perhaps you and the Animal could MC a game at the Joan. Maybe the only chance for it to sell out. You're a big WVU guy, aren't you, Chad?
I am.
Are you going to take a shot at Marshall, too?
I'm not. My sister went to Marshall.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, Animal and I have fun no matter where we go. So we could easily. I
support both teams when they're not playing each other.
You can do that.
That's right.
I mean, people have a tendency to think that you can't do that. Why do we think that way?
I don't understand. I
mean, you got two and other schools in the state, UC and State, and there are a lot of great programs. You can support them all.
I agree, but it's a good rival.
It's not even a rivalry, in my opinion.
I don't even wear green.
You sound like my buddy Mayor Edwards of Hurricane. You know, he
always wears red.
He always wears red. Does not own anything green because of the rivalry between Hurricane and Winfield. All right. Let me knock out a couple of texts here, and then I will get to Chad. Text says, it's okay for wealthy people to influence law and tax code with their money, so the laws and tax code benefit the wealthy. Question marks as a texter. The text is interesting that we still have to learn about a nominated candidate for the president of the United States when they've been the vice president for 3.5 years, says a texter. Texter says, we need to tax the wealthy so that we can give money to other people. Ha ha, says a texter. All right, so Chad Robinson is here, city councilman in the great city of Charleston. How are you, man?
Good morning, Dave. I'm here. We're having a good morning.
I'm having a good morning.
It's cooled down some outside.
I love it. I went out to get the paper this morning, man, and I was like, wow, this feels like – but next week it's going to be in the mid-90s again. So there you go.
Well, it'll be talking about WVU. Noon,
yes.
Hot
yes.
against Penn State.
Yeah. So. Go ahead and make your prediction on the game now.
I think we'll hang in there. I'm not sure we can win, but we'll hang in there.
Hope springs eternal,
That's
as
right.
they say. So, Councilman, last night, the conversation about simple possession of marijuana continued during the council meeting last night. You and Councilman Annie, I think, had been on this kind of from day one. So what happened last night?
We passed a bill. I don't think it's a bill that either side wanted, but it's a bill that we passed, and I think it's a good piece of legislation that moves Charleston forward. It passed 20-5. Lots of discussion. As you know, and you said earlier that we had this bill back in committee. We heard the bill on my committee 3 times. We also met with some interested parties and the Charleston Police Department in between those meetings. And, when both sides aren't happy, that's usually a good piece of legislation, as we do at the Capitol.
So take us back to, and you've been on the show 3 or 4 times talking about this, but let's go back to the very beginning. Where did this entire thing come from? Did you have a lot of residents in the city that said we need to look at that? Was it the police department, a combination of all the above? How did this whole idea come about?
Well, I'm the chairman of Ordinance and Rules Committee on City Council, and I perceive my role as chairman to look at outdated code, or ordinances that we can change and update to state code. This part of our ordinances about marijuana and simple possession has not been updated since 2011, and state code has changed since then. So basically what this does is
let me go back to that. State code has changed since then. For the listeners, what has changed in state code
the different penalties, things of that sort.
Okay.
I mean, marijuana has evolved. I mean, look, I think, my personal opinion, I think we're behind times in West Virginia. I mean, Ohio just passed recreational. I'm not a marijuana user, but the financials of recreational are beneficial for West Virginia. I mean, look, Ohio is right next door. It's coming, but we need to update our code in Charleston, and it's dealing with simple possession.
And so, define again for the people who may not have heard your other interviews. What are we talking about with simple possession?
15 grams or lower.
All right. So I'm downtown and I get stopped for something. Not that I would, because I'm not a marijuana user either. But I would get stopped for something, and they find it on me. They are frisking me for some other reason, and it's my first offense. It's simple possession at that point, right?
Correct. 15 grams or lower. You could be pulled over. It could be a reason to search, things of that sort. The officer's discretion of whether it's simple possession or intent to distribute over 15 grams.
Because if you're doing under 15 and you're going to sell it, you're the worst salesman in the world.
That's probably right. I don't know anything about I couldn't even tell you what 15 grams looks like. So,
well, it's not a whole lot.
I didn't think so.
It's not a whole lot.
But and also, too, this is municipal court. This has nothing to do with magistrate court. If a state trooper pulls you over or searches you, or a county sheriff, deputy sheriff, those things would go to magistrate court. This is all municipal court citations.
Yeah, all within the city of Charleston.
Right.
Again, we're talking with Councilman Chad Robinson. And I think it's very important, as I heard the audio from the city council meeting this morning on our news, that you said on the record, in front of God and everybody there, that we are not legalizing marijuana in the city of Charleston.
I started my comments. This does not legalize marijuana.
Because that was a misconception out there, is that we're going to become a mini Denver.
And
or
we
something.
can't. The federal government has to schedule marijuana, reschedule. Then the state has to take action, and then that gives the municipalities the opportunity to change their ordinances if that ever happens.
So what has been the response from people when you talk? I mean, obviously there's people that have brought this up to you, as I said, from various parts of the community, from law enforcement to residents and so on and so forth. I know you're a guy that listens a lot to your constituents. What has been the response to even I know it just happened last night, but the discussion about the whole thing?
Overall, it's well received. I took my time. A lot of times at council and a lot of times at the state capitol, things are brought up in committee, passed, and done. Well, this bill was introduced on July 1st. Mm-hmm. So we took over 6 weeks of time, effort, discussion, brought everybody in. We went from one extreme of the introduced version to the other extreme of no penalties, no jail time for any offenses. And then we brought it back to the middle, and I think we passed a good piece of legislation.
This is an editorial comment on my behalf, Chad, and it has nothing to do with you. But I think there are one of the reasons why that across America that a lot of people that may not necessarily be that all, pardon the pun, fired up anti-marijuana get a little bit sideways on this, because there are those who want marijuana to be, I can smoke it anywhere, I can do it anywhere, or whatever, and that, I think that hurts the argument.
I agree with you, and those individuals are not going to be happy or pleased with whatever we do until it's legal and you can walk around Charleston smoking a blunt or smoking marijuana.
And that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen with this piece of legislation.
Not at all. I mean, it's not to say that it couldn't happen eventually.
Sure.
Because I think we are going to get to the place, Councilman, where West Virginia legalizes marijuana.
I do too, and I think we should be looking at it, but that's not my decision.
Right? Yeah, and I think it's very interesting, and I think the council and your rules committee and anyone involved should be commended for getting the police officers involved in this, because so many times when things like this are brought up, and we saw this as an example with Campus Carry. They didn't really talk to, and I know I'm getting off on a tangent here. I'm 100% Second Amendment. I'm pro-gun, whatever. But when that legislation was crafted, one of the responses from law enforcement is they didn't really talk to us about this. And sometimes that happens, legislators or council people or commissions or whatever, they want to do something, but they don't talk to the people that this is going to directly involve. You folks did this.
Yeah, and that's exactly, I've been at the state capitol, my real job, for over 25 years, and that's the best thing to do. Bring everybody in. I told one of the advocates for West Virginia Can't Wait, you can't get everything you want. You have to negotiate and get to something that we can pass. And I think we did that. I'm of the opinion that if a person makes a mistake, and that's what we're trying to do, if somebody makes an honest mistake and has a simple possession charge, they should have the opportunity to get rid of that. Second offense, okay, maybe you had a second offense and you messed up. But as we get down the line to third, fourth, and fifth, you have to start learning. And that's what this bill does. 0, 250, 500 on the first, second, and third offenses.
So is it over now? Is it done?
It is past 20 to 5 last night.
And when is it going to affect?
5 days.
So
after last night.
5 days after last night. So, okay. One of the comments that was made from one of the individuals that spoke last night at council, and again, I wasn't there, but I did hear it, and I don't recall the gentleman's name. It's really not important, but it was someone from the public who said something to the effect of this was going to negatively impact low-income people. I'm sorry, Councilman. I can't go along with that. I mean, I'm sorry. If it's still illegal, then it doesn't matter what your income is. You're still breaking the law, no matter if you're a multimillionaire or you're a minimum wage worker. That's just where I am.
Totally agree. I think, just like I said, sometimes there's a mistake made, second time, okay. But it doesn't matter. You're still making mistakes, and you should pay the fine. And, it's no jail time. Last year, I think there was over 200 citations written for simple possession. There was no jail time given by the municipal judge. Back in 2019, I think it was over 300. And there's no jail time. So, again, we've updated our code. We worked with the officers. I think this helps them in Charleston. And I think it's middle of the road passage of something that need to be updated.
Now, what are you going to do about the traffic in Kanawha City?
Oh, Dave, don't start that.
One thing at a time.
You brought that up, November. It's almost November. Let's see if we have a road in November.
What else are you working on? What else is this is kind of taking up a lot of your time, but there's other things on every council person's agenda and on your plate. What else are you looking at?
Hey, you look at Morgantown, you look at Wheeling, the panhandling issue. There's several years ago, I introduced a bill to restrict panhandling or reduced for safety reasons. I'd like to readdress that at some point. We have to again look at the.
Man, you're just asking for trouble with these West Virginia Can't Wait people. You know that, right?
But you know what, Dave? It's a safety concern. You hear Councilwoman Fagery talk about the West Side. They're staying in the medians. They're staying in the right of ways. Kanawha City, you talk about the construction. They're standing in the middle of the construction and asking for money. We have programs in Charleston that can help these people, and that's what I want to do.
If they want help.
If they want help.
And sadly, a lot of the people with the programs will tell you that sadly a lot of them don't want the help.
That's exactly right. Mm-hmm. I understand. Give me a hammer to beat my head.
All right, Councilman, I appreciate you being here. We will talk again soon, man. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Dave.
Appreciate you being here. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, presented in part by General Hardware of Winfield and Milton. For all projects, big and small, shop locally. Visit generalhardwarewv.com. Brad McElhinny's up next, back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Are you looking for a technical job in the medical field? Generations is growing and looking to add on job-trained physical therapy techs to our rehab team. To apply, visit one of our 7 convenient locations or simply click on us at generationspt.com.
Did you know that most homes and businesses in West Virginia have some sort of foundation settlement problem? If you're experiencing a settling foundation or sunken concrete slab, call the professionals at Marco Concrete Lifting. With the most advanced solutions and engineered equipment, your structural stability is their top priority. Marco Concrete Lifting can provide a structural engineer referral upon request. Protect your biggest investment, your home. Call Marco Concrete Lifting today at 722-LIFT. That's 722-LIFT.
Welcome to Poca Valley, where we've been in business since 1908. Today, we serve Roane, Kanawha, Putnam, and surrounding counties. We believe you deserve banking that provides friendly customer service. For all of your financial needs, stop by one of our 8 convenient locations. Call us at 844-782-2651 or visit us online at PocaValleyBank.com. Poca Valley, where relationships matter.
Member FDIC.
Parents of high school juniors and seniors, discover the Wynn Academy at Bridge Valley Community and Technical College. This unique charter school offers an accelerated program for students passionate about nursing or advanced manufacturing. Students can start college courses in their junior year, graduating high school with their first year of college completed, all for free. With hands-on experience and personalized attention, students are just 1 year away from finishing their college degree after high school. Save on college costs and get a head start at the Wynn Academy at Bridge Valley.
Jarrett Construction has celebrated its 25th year in business, proudly serving the West Virginia community. They extend heartfelt thanks to their clients for their trust and support over the years. From schools and hospitals to car dealerships and apartments, Jarrett Construction has been dedicated to building quality projects that make a difference. Their commitment to excellence in the community remains unwavering. For all your construction needs, choose Jarrett Construction, where your vision becomes their mission. Visit jarrett-construction.com. Thank you for making their 25 years successful and impactful.
"22 minutes away from 10, Special Olympics embodies the true spirit of sportsmanship, not merely about winning medals. It's about being a part of a team, practicing and competing together. The joy and fulfillment derived from these experiences are immeasurable as athletes find their confidence and self-worth through the shared pursuit of victory. West Virginia Enriched, in collaboration with Huntington, invites you to witness the transformative power of Special Olympics. See a video highlighting the Special Olympics at facebook.com/580WCHS. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Taylor text 304-935-5008. Text says it's a real feat of propaganda for the Republicans to convince working and middle class that billionaires must pay less in taxes because it's good for working and middle class. I can't understand the cognitive dissonance. Anyway, Dave, give me your best argument for taxing the rich less. And if you say job creation, know that the data doesn't support your position. If you think it does, cite it. It's an argument for another time. I never said that I think that the rich should be taxed less at all. I never said that at all. Text says, nice to see the council and mayor undercut the CPD once again. Hope the officers start to cite under state law and run the tickets through Kanawha County Court, says the texter. Brad McElhinny's here. Brad, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Dave. I'm doing well, and it's nice to have somebody like yourself ask me questions and respond to my questions.
It may seem, Brad, like we just throw this show together, but myself and the other talk show hosts around the state who have shows similar to mine in various cities, we're in a group email where we all share topics and guests, et cetera, et cetera. This morning, I was telling people what I was doing on the show, and when mentioning your appearance, I said Brad would be giving us a talk about his new book, which is entitled "The Governor and Others Who Won't Talk to Me." Is it too soon for that, Brad?
Well, I've only got the one chapter, but I'm working on it.
All right. Lead story this morning, Brad, WVMetroNews.com. Stop me if you've heard this before. The governor's financial issues. Now it's health insurance for Greenbrier workers.
Mm-hmm. And that was a story first broken by The Real WV, which is a nonprofit news agency in the Greenbrier Valley. It's run by former Senate Minority Leader Stephen Baldwin, who has taken on a journalistic hat, so to speak, in that area. And, he's got good sources, Baldwin does, because that community is just filled with Greenbrier employees or people who depend on the Greenbrier as an economic driver. And, of course, a letter went out to the Greenbrier's employees, kind of a stunner yesterday, maybe not in retrospect, but a stunner in the moment, to say that the owners of the Greenbrier are severely behind 4 months to the tune of millions of dollars on their premiums for health insurance. Furthermore, that letter said that the employees of the Greenbrier could be cut off their health insurance next week, 1 week from today, if the Greenbrier doesn't make good on it. And finally, there was a reference in that letter written by lawyers for the insurance company, the health insurance provider, to say that the Greenbrier had collected premiums from those employees and then didn't pass on the money. So, just an incredible and upsetting set of circumstances. I obviously sometimes get a public reaction on social media to elements of this Greenbrier saga and the other justice financial problems. But yesterday really touched a nerve, and there was a lot of social media response. And I think it's just because it to owe $700 million to International Bank of Credit Suisse is one thing, but kind of unimaginable. To owe $300 million to your longtime local banker, Carter Bank, again, a vast amount, but hard to imagine. But people can put themselves in the shoes of those hardworking employees who have to be worried 1 week out about whether they are going to have health insurance next week, and who must at the same time be aghast and horrified if it's true that the Greenbrier collected their premiums and then didn't put it toward that health insurance.
Brad, I agree with you, and I was actually going to say that. You and I and normal people cannot relate to owing millions and millions of dollars to a bank or to a lending service or whatever the case may be. But when we start talking about dangling people's health insurance in front of them, people that, and I don't know what people at the Greenbrier make, but I'm going to guess they all aren't making six figures, okay? Not the ones that are cleaning your room and are opening the doors and cooking and waiting tables. You start at that point to say, okay, this is real. Now, I mean, it was always real, but this is really real. Does that make any sense? Because you can think about that, put yourself in the position, no matter what your job is, if you're fortunate enough to have health insurance, to know that through no fault of your own, I may lose my health insurance because my employer didn't make the premiums.
Yeah, I mean, your heart goes out to those folks. I've had significant public reaction to the stories that you can wrap your arms around. The thing about chasing down the helicopter and trying to liquidate it to pay down debt, that captured people's imagination, because you can imagine the helicopter. It was a little bit funny, the U.S. Marshals trying to chase the thing down. The potential auction of the Greenbrier has really captured the public's imagination, because even if you can't afford to go there, you know what it looks like. You know the lush green grass of a golf course. You probably take pride in it as a West Virginian. You know its history and its destination as a place that America's presidents have gone, members of Congress. So that pride is in your heart, and you hate to see that it's potentially going to be up for auction on the courthouse steps. And you can, again, it's tangible. You can imagine it. And then finally, it's this one that's related to that, which is those employees, and that could be any one of us, who are potentially not going to be with health insurance next week. God help you if you've got a surgery coming up or your spouse does, and now you've got that kind of thing to worry about. And finally, I will say that on things that the patriarch of the Justice family has said, as we somewhat jokingly described at the beginning of our conversation, he lashed out at me for raising questions about these financial problems that he then described as fake news. After the Greenbrier was announced for a foreclosure sale, he has, in multiple instances, blamed politics, said that political forces out to thwart his run for the U.S. Senate have somehow caused that auction to go into effect. But to my way of thinking, this matter of owing $3.5 million on health premium contributions and potentially having the employees without health insurance undercuts all of that. I have no idea how you could spin health insurance premiums and the failure to pay them politically.
It's all politics, Brad. It's all politics.
There may be a way, but I do not know. Not to say, though, that people might not take a look at this and assess their views on politics, but I cannot imagine how politics has caused it.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. Birds begin a road series at Southern Maryland tonight. Tickets, schedules, promotions, Dirty Birds gear, and more. Visit dirtybirdsbaseball.com. Where are we on said auction, Brad? So it's supposed to be 1 week from today, right?
That is a good question. The justices, on behalf of Charleston attorney, through the efforts of Charleston attorney Steve Ruby, put forward a motion for a temporary injunction yesterday. There are three distinct reasons they get into, and then there is a broader argument that lawyers for the justices make that this could throw the Greenbrier into turmoil as an employer and as an economic driver. And they're asking a local judge in Greenbrier County to at least delay that auction, which is scheduled for 2 p.m. 1 week from today, next Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a hearing in Greenbrier County 9 a.m. Friday. I know where I'll be, so don't book me for this show for chapter 2 of my book. But so that this is an effort at least to slow this whole thing down. Even if it doesn't derail the auction permanently, it potentially could throw some sand in the gears, delay things, offer a greater opportunity for all of the sides of this complex loan and debt matter to come to the table, maybe to reach some agreement. The other thing it does, I'm not sure you can kick it down the track so far that it runs past the election, but to the degree that this does go into the political gristmill, it would be to Governor Justice's political advantage to kick it on down past the election.
What are you working on today, Brad?
That is a good question, Dave. Yesterday was quite busy, and I may be picking up the pieces of what we laid down yesterday. These two Greenbrier stories are still happening. There are, believe it or not, there are other debt problems not caused by me that maybe deserve some circling back. And there was a state Senate issue, if we just have a second.
Sure.
Senator Chandler Swope filed an official challenge to the voting in his district, which the district he currently serves, which is Mercer County, McDowell, Mingo, and part of Wayne. There were some questions about the Mingo County voting. The results came back from that, and both sides, the other side is Republican challenger Craig Hart. They agree that there really were some flaws in the voting in Mingo County. Democrats who wound up picking Republican ballots and election workers who maybe innocently, maybe just mistakenly didn't realize that should be happening, or at least didn't stand in the way of it. But those things truly did happen. Both sides wound up agreeing, but not to the level that Swope could prove that the full precincts of balloting should be thrown out. So Swope, the incumbent, is throwing in the towel on that matter. Craig Hart is going to be the Republican nominee for that district, and we'll see to what degree, out of all this turmoil, any Democrat might be able to pick up some steam and potentially give Hart a challenge.
All right, Brad, little programming note, the Chief of Staff for the Secretary of State's office, Deke Kersey, is going to be on with Hoppy to talk about this coming up at Talkline. Brad, I appreciate you being here, man. I'll always talk to you, even if the governor won't.
Hey, that's kind and generous in spirit.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, buddy. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by Live Healthy, West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. Live Healthy, tackling pressing health issues. It's a podcast offering insights into medical breakthroughs and preventative care with WVU Medicine's expert physicians aimed at fostering healthier lifestyles in and beyond the state. It's a valuable resource for all. Check out the latest episodes on WVMetronews.com under the podcast menu and start your journey towards better health today. Text says, I'm conservative and God-fearing, but never understood how we could make something that God created like a marijuana plant illegal, says a texter. Okay. Wow. With all the insanity going on in our country right now, if you're a voter and your biggest priority is this, then you're one of the reasons why the country is in the hell that it's in. I presume they're talking about the marijuana thing with Charleston. Not really sure. Dex says, if anyone can come together, then unite on tougher animal abuse and neglect laws. There were 2 litters of kittens dumped in 2 places yesterday, one in a dumpster in Bell. The other was a box of kittens outside Point Harmony Elementary. Enough is enough. I would agree with that. The Dave Allen Show, 580 Live, is brought to you in part by Huston's Pizza. This month at your favorite Huston's, get a large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and an 8-inch chocolate chip cookie, only $23.99. I mentioned Deke Kersey, Chief of Staff for Secretary of State Mac Warner, on with Hoppy today. Also on Talkline today, Brad Mack will make a return appearance there because you can't get too much Brad in your life. Let's see. Jared Halpert of Fox News Radio will be on live from the DNC in Chicago. West Virginia Education Association President Dale Lee and former Mayor Danny Jones all coming up with Hoppy from the Encova Insurance Studios in the Dale Miller Building in Morgantown. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses care for your family.
Planning for retirement? Stike Wealth Enhancement Group is here to help. Whether you're preparing to retire, already retired, or seeking advice, our experts guide you every step of the way. Imagine leaving a legacy that supports your children or even the Children's Hospital. With careful planning, you can enjoy your retirement and make a lasting impact. At Stike Wealth Enhancement Group, we help you achieve your financial goals and create a legacy that matters. Start planning today. Visit StikeWEG.com. Secure your future. Leave a legacy.
Securities and advisory service offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
You don't have to pop the tape in the VCR to relive some of the best moments in West Virginia high school sports. Check out high school home videos on the free Metro News television app. This building playlist will feature some of the best games and players in the Metro News television archives. Download the free Metro News television app for your smart TV or streaming device today and enjoy some of the best moments from high school sports in the state of West Virginia in your own living room. Metro News Television is powered by WVU Medicine, the West Virginia Department of Tourism, and Dan Cava Toyota.
Ahoy, Charleston! Boating season is here, and it's time to make waves with Trojan Landing Marine. Discover amazing deals on boats perfect for your adventures. Whether it's fishing, relaxing on a pontoon, or cruising, they have the vessel for you. Visit Trojan Landing Marine today and gear up for an unforgettable boating season. The deals are top-notch. Don't forget to check out their new Boat Bites food truck for delicious eats on the water. Explore the full inventory at TrojanLanding.com. Trojan Landing Marine. They take the hassle out of boating.
Freedom on the open road. Sharp reflexes and smart decision-making is all that separates your body from the road. Even just one drink can affect your ability to ride. Alcohol limits your reaction time and decreases inhibitions, which is the perfect recipe for a DUI. So why would you ever risk riding while impaired? Ride sober or get pulled over. If you hit the bottle, don't roll the throttle. This message brought to you by NHTSA.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you in part by Pinnacle Consultants. Pinnacle offering a 4-phase assessment for your property's inspection, sampling, and analysis, comprehensive reporting, and management planning. Visit pinnaclecorp.net because what you don't know can hurt you. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. Texas Dave, after attending the Live Golf Tournament at the Greenbrier this weekend and seeing the extravagant amount of money and support patrons from West Virginia, nationwide, and beyond are giving the place, there's no way they should be struggling financially. A blind man could see the severe ineptitude and simple greed at the top of the management level. You know one of the things, and I was having this conversation with somebody earlier, one of the things that always amazes me about the Democrats riding so hard on Jim Justice for his lack of bill paying is, if you go back in time, I'm sorry, with all due respect to the governor, he and his companies kind of have a history of this. And this wasn't brought out that much in 2016 when he ran as a Democrat. Little consistency here. Little consistency. So back to yesterday's show with Tony Hodge. Tony, of course, is the vice chair of the state Republican Party, but he came on yesterday totally independent of that role to talk about families. And look, I have known Tony Hodge for a number of years. I consider Tony to be a good friend. In fact, probably one of my best friends. Tony and I, though, don't agree on everything, and that's okay. As far as that goes, I can't think of a single one of my 5 or 6 closest friends that I agree with everything on. If you didn't hear the show, cheap plug here, go back and listen to the replay on my social media sites or the sites of the station, the website, et cetera, et cetera. Tony has strong opinions on things, particularly when it comes to families. Tony's a devoted family man to his lovely wife, Jessica, and their 2 sons. Tony's the real deal. He walks the walk and talks the talk. And sometimes what he says can rub some people the wrong way. But it just made you think. And if you're thinking, then I've done my job having him on the show. I see my job here as an entertainer to give listeners and many times myself something to think about. And based on the reactions I got on yesterday's show, my listeners are doing a whole lot of thinking. The text continued well after the show, emails, Facebook messages, et cetera, et cetera. Tony apparently hit a nerve with a lot of people yesterday. Tony's a big believer in the traditional family, husband, wife, 2-point-whatever kids, period. And I don't always agree with what he says, but that's okay. I think it's a good thing to have a variety of different opinions on the show, and ones that elicit a great deal of feedback, both negative and positive. And people, and I hate to lump them all together, people like Tony, Mike Pushkin, Greg Thomas, Rob Cornelius, Don Blankenship, even Derek Evans. When I have them on the show, we get reactions, and hopefully we made people think a little bit. So there. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Jute. For the best in security systems for both your home or business, talk to Jute of Tays Valley. Visit protectedbyjute.com. Text says, is the Greenbrier a place that average West Virginians actually care about? Yeah, I think so. Did Chandler Swope fly his helicopter to challenge the election? I have no idea. Tony, says the texter, so badly wanted to say childless cat ladies. Thankfully, he did not say that. Ha, Tony Hodge making people think, what a joke, says the texter. I'm going to close with this. By the way, the Dave Allen Show brought to you by Morgan & Morgan. If you're injured, hire Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Today is National Radio Day. I became obsessed with radio when I was about 5 or 6 years old. Started doing radio at my high school station nearly 40 years ago. Went professional, if that's what you want to call it, 36 years ago, and have never, ever looked back. We radio people are crazy people. 36 years in, 10 stations in 2 states. I love it. I really do. And thanks to all of you that listen, because none of it matters without you. Happy Radio Day. I will see you tomorrow morning. Till then, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS AM, W243DRFM Charleston, and W283AQ Crosslanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.